What's good, people? Anyway, today we are going to talk about Mindset 101 and why most mindset training doesn't work for most people. So I'll give you an example. Let's say I'm going to do some affirmations. I'm going to say to myself that I'm a 5'5" Asian man with red hair. I'm 6'5". I'm not Asian, and I don't have red hair. But let's just say I'm going to do affirmations all day long for hours and hours a day. Is it ever going to work? No. Why? Well, because I'm not that and I don't believe that I am. And that's a lot of problem with most mindset programs is it's incongruent to your self-identity. So you're just trying to bullshit yourself, and most of the time it doesn't work. Right? The old Saturday Night Live with Stuart Smalley, I'm good enough, whatever it is, and gosh darn it, people like me. It might have some merit, but definitely not on your phone calls, for sure, not on your enrolling calls. So here's why your mindset doesn't work, or if it does work, it doesn't work, like it doesn't last, right? So let me switch over to here. Trying this new app out, see how it goes. All right, so let me see, I got my little notes here. All right, like I just said, the first thing is jeepers. You don't believe. You don't believe it. It's bullshit, right? People do these things where they write down, they try to stack things, 50 things, 100 things, why I'm so awesome, I'm amazing, I'm awesome. But if at your core identity, you don't believe any of it, and it also matters, what are you thinking about the other 23 hours in a day? Some people do 1 hour mindset work, 2-3 hours a day. But what are you saying to yourself the rest of the time, right? So that's the thing. And I'm also going to get into what you got to do to fix it. All right, so your unconscious mind is basically running patterns that negate everything. Everything that you're saying, the unconscious patterns just negate it. So it's, there's an old saying that says you can never outperform your self-identity, right? And I believe that's true. So number 3 here. This is a big one, actually. This is huge. All right, so you feel incongruent on your calls because you're trying to mold yourself to someone else's script, to someone else's philosophy, to someone else's words, and you maybe don't agree with it on some level. Some things you say, it feels icky, it feels terrible, it doesn't feel right, and that's a big problem. And a lot of people go through that. They have the magic script. And I don't even like scripts. I think they're bullshit. I shouldn't say that. I think that most people would increase their enrollment rate that have a somewhat of an idea that have been doing a lot of calls if they just ditch the script. But I'll get to that after. And let me see here. Number 4. Keep writing bigger and bigger. This is another one. You have no idea what's going wrong on your calls or what you're missing. You have no idea. And it's hard to have a bulletproof mindset when you don't even know what's going on. You don't know what you're missing. You don't know, I think everything went well. What's going on? Right? Really hard to have a good mindset when you have no clue. There's so much uncertainty, right? Okay, and this one is another one. A lot of coaches, they spend so much money on this one thing, and it's absolutely useless. That's motivation. Because people think that motivation is enough. The problem is motivation doesn't last, especially after you get a couple no's, right? And you get a couple no's, and then you just spiral out of control. The doubt comes in, the crippling beliefs, all the bullshit. You can write all day long how awesome you are. you get a couple no's in a row, and it all falls out the window, right? All right, let me get this out the way here. All right, let me see. I made a couple of notes for myself. Yeah. Another thing is that with all this craziness going on, I mean, everyone's staying home. Hopefully, fucking people are nuts, going out all the time and stuff, and they're just gonna have to probably do martial law on everyone because people don't use their brains. But anyway, if you got the I don't have the money objection a lot before, you're gonna get it every other one. Oh, I don't have the, because people are just filled with fear and uncertainty, and they don't know what's going on. So if you don't know how to get to the real emotional pain, and it's just surface level, you're never going to get that, right? All right, so all right, what do we need to do for mindset? All right, so need to do. All right. This is a big one. You need to improve your skill set and know what you're doing wrong or missing on the calls. When you know what's going on, when you know what you're doing wrong, when you know what they're going to say, when you know everything, it's really much easier to have a good mindset. But when you think, oh, I just attract people that don't have money, or everyone needs to do this, everyone needs to do that. It's impossible to you could do all the mindset work in the world, and it's probably not going to work. So you have some confidence and conviction and certainty in your calls, okay? Number 2, all right, this is a big one. Okay, you need to know how to handle objections up front and eliminate them. Because people always say, how do I handle this objection? How do I handle this objection? Well, you handle it by not getting it. That's the best thing, right? To know how to work things in and knock down the wall so those objections don't come up. Here's the thing. You can get really good at handling objections. And the only thing that you get more of is more objections. If you just constantly handle them, they're spitting them out and throwing bones at you. You're chasing bones, right? So I think it's like, when you do a good job, you shouldn't even be getting objections. If you're getting objections, that's the problem. Not to say you never get them, but you know what I mean. All right. Where am I here? Okay. Oh, this is a big one. Not many people. I only know a handful of people, maybe like 1, 2, or 3 people that actually know how to do this. And this is, you got to master stacking frames. People talk about framing. They think about framing the call, setting an intention for the call. And this is what we're going to do. This is how I run the calls. This is blah, 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 blah. It's one small piece. I mean, you definitely have to do that right. That sets the tone for the whole call. But you have to constantly be stacking frames, stacking authority, stacking credibility, stacking certainty throughout the whole call. Okay? Should have left a little space here. All right, number 4. Where am I here? Oh, this is good too, right? You need to blow up smoke screens. Jeepers. Blow up smoke screens, and like I also call that also include in there is like the surface level answers. I listen to a lot of calls and people go like a mile wide and they go like 1 inch deep. There's like no substance. It's really like just like talking. It's like, oh yeah, it's so bad. It's like awful. Anyway. 5. Yeah, I think I mentioned this a little earlier, but this is the big word is congruent, right? You have to use words that are congruent with you, right? You can't say someone else's canned lines. When they say this, you say this. You have to use your own language. You have to be you on the call. You can't try to be someone else. You got to be you, but you got to be strong. You got to have the right. You have to be able to get the same point across with your own language. Where I would hit someone right between the eyes, and I would, one client I have right now that I say things way harder than he would. He's not like that. If he said it, it wouldn't be congruent with him. He'd feel awful. But as long as he gets the same point across, we find the right words that he can say. And he says, yeah, that feels good. I can say that. And boom. But he's still getting the same point across. He'll say another word, and I'm like, no, dude, that's too soft. That word's too soft. It doesn't work. It's weak. It's really weak. It conveys uncertainty. You can't use it. And then we find the right words, and it has to be completely congruent. And I think that's the biggest thing that pretty much every sales training program I've ever seen, and I've seen tons, they all have their script. They all have their way of doing it. And you have to follow their method and say their words and say this and do this. And that doesn't work for a lot of people, especially coaches. You have to have, it has to be you. You have to be congruent. You have to be, I hate to say this freaking word, but you have to be in alignment with your beliefs. And if you say anything that goes against that, it's incongruent, and people pick that up, and you pick it up. You throw off vibes that you feel like, oh, I feel like a dick. I feel like douchey. I feel, And then a lot of people go into giving their power away, and they just start blaming, get into the blame game, and just say, oh, the client wasn't a fit. I only work with clients who take action. And it's so funny when I hear that, right? Like, I only work with action takers. And you're not an action taker, so I'm taking it away. They think that's a takeaway. And you listen back to the call, and they didn't create anything that was compelling for people to even want it. It's not about people taking action. I mean, it is. But if you do your job on the call, people will be doing whatever they can to get into your program, right? Beg, borrow, steal, whatever it takes. They'll make it happen. But when they tell you, oh, yeah, I don't have the money, you think, oh, they're broke. They're not broke. You just suck. You didn't create value. You didn't create urgency. You didn't create what it takes to enroll them. Anyway, if you're sick and tired, getting no after no, tired of your ad spend going up every single month, then what I would do is go to enrollingmastery.com/audition and book an audition call. See, I'm only taking a couple clients right now. I only work with a few at a time because it's so personal, and it's really about finding your language that works for you and not doing the same bullshit lines. Like, oh God, I heard something the other day, this big name coach, big name. And when they say, I want to sleep on it, or I want to talk to my wife, they say, okay, that's great. When do you want to get back to me? Can I send you anything? We're just love and light. Yeah, and they never come back. They don't. I mean, maybe 1 out of 20. It's the exception, not the rule. And you don't want to base your business on exceptions. So you have to know how to stop that before it even comes up. So it's not even an option that they want to tell you, I want to think about it. I want to think about it. It's ridiculous. You have to set the call right at the beginning. So they can't even say that. They're either going to say yes or no. And either one is fine. Anyway. All right, guys. I don't know how long it's been, but it's been a while. I'll see you later.